What's up, world? We are back with an all new episode of the All Things House podcast. I am your host, DJ Ollie Red, and we are back in the studio. Today, we have a very special guest hailing all the way from Germany, DJ, producer, singer, Khadija. What's up? How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well.
Uh,
Thank you. Mondays,
Monday,
me days.
admin
So
days for me, admin days.
yeah, for
Yeah,
you, Mondays, yeah?
yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
know.
very disciplined. This is
Well,
very
I figured, I get the weekend to do gigs and all that stuff. So I figured while everything's fresh in my mind, I might as well get all that important stuff down. Because if it gets like a Wednesday, I'm already on to the next like weekend and stuff like that. So I figure,
respect, Oliver.
yeah, respect,
Yeah.
right?
Mad, mad
So
thing.
yeah, Matt thing, right? So let's get right into it. So a little backstory: how I first saw you, and when I first saw you, you were DJing. So I just got back from a trip with my girlfriend to Berlin, and we kind of randomly were on TripAdvisor looking for events to go to because we had another one planned, but the vibe wasn't really the Yelp vibes weren't really what we wanted to go to. So we stumbled upon the Toy Tonics party in Berlin, and you were actually playing when we walked in, and we both looked at each other and was like, "Damn, like she is really, really killing the decks right now." This is the conversation I'm having with my girlfriend. So the energy that you were giving off, the music that you were playing, I looked over. I was like, "Yo, we have to have her on the podcast." So that's when I reached out. I was like, "Yo, you got to come on." And luckily, you're here. We're here now. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, first of all, I mean, I said it before, I say it again. When I see my brothers and sisters dancing on the dance floor, I know I'm doing a good job.
For sure.
And definitely thank you so much for, asking me to be on this platform and also, to speak to a different audience outside of Berlin. It's always like, for me, very flattering and, yeah, man,
Yeah.
and where music can take us, it's
Exactly.
very interesting and how it connects people with each other. And yeah, I mean, this is a different example for how magical and how connective music is.
It is very true, very true. That we always have the conversation of how the internet plus music makes the world very, 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 very small. Because really, there's no way that we could even like know each other through not music.
Right,
Right? Yeah,
right,
that's perfect. That's
right,
perfect. Perfect.
right.
So we like to get the beginnings of our guests. Can you kind of explain the early beginnings of music and how you wanted to become like a DJ, producer, stuff like that?
Right, right. Um, okay, so I started very early, 15 years ago, in my hometown, South Germany, Pforzheim. I was invited to go to music studio by a guy who was very connected into the cultural scene over there. It's a very small town, so everybody knows each other, and we just came up with, I don't know how the conversation started, but anyways, then I started doing like reggae and dancehall German music as a singer and songwriter. Before that, you have to imagine I come from an Eritrean household, so we express our feelings and the way we like. It's a fundamental part of our culture, which is music. So it was all around me since a very young age and a very organic part of my upcoming. And then from then on, it was an organic part of my life. So it went into my entire adult life since today, yeah, let's say. And so I started making like my own music productions 6 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I started with Logic, like the software,
Mhm.
where I like organically started to produce electronic music.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
But I was basically also making music as a singer-songwriter, which was more like trip hop driven, R&B driven, soul driven, stuff like that. But when it comes to as a producer, I was like, I wanted to do something more uplifting.
Okay.
yeah, so this is where it started with electronic music. But of course, to go to the retro perspective again, I went clubbing. I started clubbing when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. And I was also, surrounded by hip hop, R&B, and house music in
Okay.
those clubs
Yeah.
where I was, going to. And yeah, and then like 3 years ago, I was like, you know what, like this performative singer-songwriter bubble, let's say, I cannot 100% identify with that, and I would love to learn something new in this music frame, right?
Yeah.
And I just saw a documentary where Moby was saying, listen, as a musician, artist in general, it's really dope to know, to have many crafts, not only sing, write, compose, produce, whatever. And I was basically down with these fields. So I was like, hey, DJing is something that I never experienced. I love to dig music, it's also part of my all day, everyday life. So why not learn the technique? I asked a friend of mine, she said, yo, I can teach you how to do it, like the basics. I had like 3 sessions with her. Told a friend of mine, my friend from Palestine, Faris, who was doing a house party at his place. And I was like, hey, Faris, can I play at your party? He was like, directly, yes. It was not even a discussion,
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I have so much experience in the music industry and field and stuff like this. And I dealt with a lot of rejections, actually. So when the DJ thingy, still today, it has such less of rejections,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, God is giving me basically a different way to express myself in this frame of music and art.
Yeah.
I fucking go with it.
Yeah.
I got nothing to lose anyway.
Yeah.
I learned so many things about how, the whole world is functioning basically, but I'm still like in the underground. In between the underground and mainstream, I place myself in between those two worlds, and especially mainstream, I say, because like how the structure behind the music industry works, so I understood that throughout my experience in the past years. But to go back to the part how I started with DJing 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to play after the house party. There were like 14 people or something like this I was performing in front of. And my next gig was like in front of 400 people because I applied at a competition that was looking for female producers and DJs all around Europe. And I got the opportunity to go to Amsterdam for 3 to 4 days workshops, include like producing your own track plus performing in front of an audience in a very taste maker place in Amsterdam. And the winner could play at the Mysteryland Festival in Holland. So it was a big deal. And I was not prepared for this because for me, I'm very proactive, in my career in general. So I just applied without thinking I'm going to play at a fucking festival. For me, it was just like more about the workshops and getting to know people and have like an experience, right? And also did not expect to got chosen from I don't know how many thousand people, and 5 people go to this project basically. And this was a moment of my life because I was super nervous about this performance. It was basically the highlight of the project as well. And I remember sitting in my hotel room and having a conversation with this more than 10 years plus DJ telling me how she is playing and stuff, right? And trying to get the information. But of course, I did not understand all of it because I was a beginner, right? So I was like, fuck,
what's going on?
And then this side of me, that therapist side of me came up, completely took over my personality and my nervous system stuff, and was just talking to me in a very patient way. And I said, when I got this, I just want to experience this challenge,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. And it went also well.
Mm-hmm.
of course not like today, because from practice,
Practice, yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
right. But and nobody knew that I was basically not a DJ
That's
that
good.
time,
That's
you
good.
know.
Yeah.
So and yeah, and from then on, one gig after the other came in, and it was more like through my network and stuff like that, and and also with some bookers I work with, and then one of them, she's also like a mentor type of person. She's like, hey Khadija, listen, combine your DJ profile, because I used to separate it also from each other, like the DJ and producer side and the, you know. And then she's like, combine it, like, you know, you already getting so much gigs and so many gigs and stuff like this, and yeah, that's where I'm
That's
at.
kind of what we were talking about before we started, about the whole like alignment aspect of it.
Right,
As long as we put ourselves inside or in line with whatever goal we had to do, we're going to
right.
naturally meet people, or understand or learn a new skill, and then boom, we're good. And then sometimes we actually look up and like, how the hell did I get here? But it's like we know how we got here because we kind of planned it in the beginning, you know.
Somehow, Oliver, but at the same time, you know what, I really was like at the point in my like music career, and again, I do this for so many years, where I was really frustrated, you know, and where I was like also had like a turn off against the whole world, you know, basically the music world. So I was like, you know what, I don't know, it doesn't matter how much work I put in, how much, you know, effort and passion and stuff like that. I just basically, when I had like this phase of frustration, I was like, I just let it go. And then this DJ learning phase started, right? Like approximately 3 months after this phase. But I was like, you know, I actually lost the love of for music, you know, and I could never imagine myself to even, you know, be at that point in my life. But this DJ and the DJing and the club scene, you know, where I was not part of, because I stopped clubbing when I was 23. I'm 32 years old now, so um, although I live in Berlin, but I'm not a raver,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And to have the chance to get to know this new world that accepts you the way you are, and where the music is upfront, you know, like you the music is like the thing. And this is also something that I always was so um after about my own music, you know. I did not want to, you know, say, I mean, of course I represent myself on those platforms, but at the same time, for me, it's more like the content, you know, of the music, like the quality, the elements of the music. Like I'm a super sound nerd, you know.
Okay.
I love
Hmm.
music, like I take it very serious, you know. For me, it's like it's something, you know,
Hmm.
it's something essential, it's
It's life
something that
almost.
can
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But so I wanted to get to back to two things you mentioned, about the commercial and underground aspect of it, because that was one thing I saw in Berlin that is completely different than where I live at. Like there was no cameras, there's no phones. They make you put like stickers on your phone cameras. And at
right.
first, at first, I'm like, oh shit, what's going on in here, you know? And then once I get in there, it's like everybody is just having a good time, and the music is first. That was it. That was the second thing that I wanted to touch back on. Sorry for this noise. Someone's outside cutting the trees, and it's super annoying right now. But we will get through it. So sorry about
How dare he? How dare he?
that.
How dare?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so getting back to that, how did you when you first came to the scene, has it always been like that, like the music is first and then like everything else is second?
I mean, I this is my perspective on it, you know, like it's my personal perspective and also goal on it. And I think it is like that. I mean, people in Berlin in general, like especially when it comes to the club scene, you can tell like these are people who like into the sound that they play. You know, they identify with that. They hang around people who produce this kind of music, or in general, you know, it's definitely a subculture itself. And when it comes to this privacy policy in Berlin, it's very strict, and you can experience this in almost every, especially electronical clubs. And it has something to do with so Berlin has also a very big drug culture, right? And people started to do that to create spaces where people can completely be free. So this is basically the historical beginning of why, you know, those spaces. And after the wall came down, you know, before that, Germany was also very controlled, and there was a lot of, I don't know, security going on, right? People were not allowed to say certain things, so it was a lot of um how should I explain, like governmental control, let's say. And people, especially the younger generation, wants to break out of these things. And yeah, so drugs is definitely a reason, but also to create spaces where you can just be yourself, basically. And if you go to Berghain, for example, there are people like lawyers, politicians, people like from, you know, important positions in this country, but also I think from abroad. It's a very international known club. They want to just, you know, have a good
Have a
time,
good time.
basically.
Yeah. Not worry
Yeah,
about it.
and exactly, exactly. And you know what? First time for me, it was also a little bit weird because I did not know this kind of policy from the south of Germany, but I completely understand what is behind it, because you are also, you know, when you go to a club, you don't want to have people to take pictures or are on their phone in general, and just be in the moment, right? So you know how it is. If you leave the house without your phone, you're completely free, basically. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like there's less weight on my shoulders when I forget my phone at home, you know. But I actually also, being on the other side, super afraid about which direction do I have to go, because you can't really navigate it
Yeah, you
without
can't
it
navigate
anymore.
anymore, huh? No,
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows how to read a map anymore, huh?
Scheiße.
So this the I also want to get back to once you made the transition from strictly, you know, producer, songwriter, then into the DJing world. Did you,
Right.
when you made that transition, did you like kind of take a break from the singer songwriting aspect of it and then go back to it? Or no,
No,
no?
not really.
Okay. But did you think, you think your DJing kind of helped with your singing and production? Like maybe like gave it like a new like light to a new spark to it?
I mean, I understand now how dance records work, right?
Yeah.
Before that, I was more, I had more knowledge about the pop structures, you know, and now I have knowledge about the dance floor structures throughout, because of the DJing, definitely. And it was a really dope experience that because we also worked on an electronical project,
Hmm.
uh, and it was so much easier also, you know, like, because I mean, yes, you have vocals, yes, you have lyrics, yes, you have structure, but it's more about the vibe, the feeling,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
It's not so cognitive, right? And yeah, man, it's a complete different world. But I also feel like when it comes to my state of, you know, where I'm at in my life at the moment, it suits so much more, because it's so much more less strict, less rules, less regulations. I find, yeah, you know, and it's more like becoming this person that I really want to be, you know, and not to be upfront and need to talk to everyone, and like this, all these regulations that are basically also in my mind more than in real life. This DJing shows me, oh, it's actually pretty cool, you know, like people are nice, they talk nice, you have great feedback, people come to you, say to you, this song was played at my sister's A-level graduation, you know, which is super, you know, for me to be able to um create those memories is like insane, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and this shows me again, like this DJing shows me how relevant music is. It just showed me how relevant music is. It's less me, it's more us, you know?
Yeah.
For me.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
So when you won the or you know got into that competition, and then you did the gig, the big gig, and then after that more gigs start coming in. Like, kind of, what is the next step? Like you said, you start like touring more or gigging more. So what's the next step from there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would love to play in different places, right? I mean, I basically played all over Berlin. Like the last address I would love to play is the Panorama Bar.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was fortunate enough to play at Tresor, which is also one of the most established clubs worldwide. And I feel super honored, you know, to be able to play there because my career as a DJ is not really long, you know, and it takes a lot of, let's say, how should I explain, like risk to do that, right? But at the same time, it's the time where they also understand we need to create our lineups more diverse.
More diverse, yeah.
So people like me are also have the opportunity to become better, you know, on that level, like on that major level. So for me, the next steps, I wish to play in different cities like London, Paris, like all over Europe. But I also would love to play in North Africa. I would love to go to East Africa, where my parents come from, right? Would love to play in Ethiopia, also in West Africa. I would love to go to the Arab countries because I speak Arabic. So there's also connection. I love the South Asian countries. I would love to play in China. So basically on the entire world. Of course, I would love to play in Detroit, in Chicago.
Yeah.
I would love to play in New York. You know, like these are definitely the goals that I have, and let's see if we can proceed to go there. But I will go, and you know, I would do this with knowing this is like purposeful, you know, and also produce music, of course, to you know, establish myself also as to keep that production, composing, writing and stuff like going, because I love to create at the same time. And to have those both things going on.
So you mentioned that your parents, they moved to Germany. How was that? Was that meaning the support aspect from it? Were they supportive of your choice of career, or were they not supportive? How did that go?
Now they are.
Now they are.
You know.
Yeah.
Now you know where my father's like, you know, if you like basically telling him about the checks and stuff like that, he needs numbers. You know, he's a numbers guy, and he's in general somebody who says, don't fucking waste your time. Like he's been like that since I can remember, you know, even if I had like coming home with my school grades and have like so we have like from 1 to 6, 1 is the best, 6 is the worst. And if I have like a 2 minus or something, he's like, why is it not a 2? So he was always pushing me to be like, you know, the best of all best. But at the same time, this is crazy pressure, right? So I just told my parents recently that I make music in general because they wanted me to go and study math, marketing, you know, politics, whatever I'm interested in, because I'm also interested in many fields in general of my life. But I never felt like if I'm going to study, this is for me. It would be more for my parents. And in my like people who come from the country my parents come from and the kids of diaspora, unfortunately, lots of them do the things for their parents, you know, and somehow my parents instilled also a little glimpse in me that is very self-independent, you know, minded and emotionally and whatever. So no, they haven't been supportive of my musical career. I also haven't told them about it. Just again recently, I think 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
Like
what do you think you did?
I mean, I always had a job besides that.
Okay.
So it was all covered.
Yeah.
No lies, you know?
We were talking about the you know, the support system, but we also were talking about the first kind of big event that you were part of, the aspect of the winning the competition, and then getting to go to different workshops. Um, can you explain the kind of the beginnings of that, how that came to fruition?
Right, right. So we had like this, we had the opportunity in these 3 days to have like different workshops in the field of, there were like professional DJs like Dave Clark, Carista, who's like a very established DJ in Amsterdam, who gave us insights of their work as a DJ and, the entire world of the club scene and how they established themselves in the scene. Then we had like a social media marketing workshop where this PR agency lady was giving us insights about, how to use the platforms and stuff like this. But to be honest with you, I forgot everything about it.
Yeah,
Like because, especially when it comes to social media, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Anyway,
yeah.
um, it's a really good tool, to promote your stuff on a free platform, basically. But more, I don't understand the algorithm and stuff like that. Anyways,
Yeah, it's tough.
then we had the opportunity to go to the Stem Records studio, which is like one of the biggest music records record labels in the world. They, for example, represent Martin Garrix, who work with a lot of global people, global people, and they showed us the studios and their office and stuff like that. And we also went to the studio where Lady Gaga produced her song "Bad Romance," which was also super dope because I love this track.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a really nice experience to have like this insight from these professionals, who already do what they do for years and in a very successful way and manner. And yeah, and then it was a very insightful experience that gave me like this push to keep on progressing in the DJ world, right? And in the
Yeah.
club scene in general, and also as a producer and musician in general. And here in Berlin, I have like this very strong network around me, people I can really count on. I can ask questions when there's things coming up and stuff like that. And how I establish myself here is basically being proactive and ask around where I can play, which agencies are open for artist development, agencies who can represent me and stuff like that. But I was not just looking in Berlin, but also outside of Berlin, because as you maybe also recognizes that Berlin like has lots of creative people. So every second person is doing something creative in this
Yeah.
town. It's basically the German Los Angeles,
Yeah.
right? And so for me, it was clear I also want to be, outside of the Berlin uh, circle in a way,
Yeah.
and ask around and writing emails telling these people, yo, I'm working as a DJ slash producer singer. Is there an opportunity to collaborate, right? And
Yeah.
then I got like the opportunity to collaborate in a very intimate way with Refuge community radio. They're really, really supportive of my path, and doing some also bringing in bookings and stuff like this. There is another agency in South Germany that is pushing me lots of time,
Good.
and people send me like messages via Instagram and email and stuff like that. So I'm also putting myself out there through those platforms so people can reach out to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
How was it being able to navigate the scene? One, being a new DJ. Two, I hate saying this term, but just for the story question, female DJ. And
Right.
three, how does it navigate being a new DJ, a female DJ, and a black DJ? And how does that work over there? And just in general.
I think I came up with the wanna DJ in the perfect time,
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
before, it
Yeah.
was like, it was really dope timing. Like I didn't plan that. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
of
It
course,
was,
of course.
as I said, God's way.
Hmm.
what took me there, but we had the Black Lives Matter situation going on, right?
Mhm.
And it just inflated this thing of, you know, we need diversity on our lineups, you know. The whole wave came to Europe, you know, and people were going nuts also here, you know, like it was this huge topic of racism is going on in every field of the system, right? And also in the creative space that's supposed to be super, you know,
Inclusive.
open
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And but also, you know, I mean, I knew when I was going clubbing 10, 12 years ago, why am I the only Black person in this room? This is
Yeah.
our music, you know, like this is the music, like I know where this music comes from, you know.
Yeah.
I'm very into music and the rhythm and stuff like this, like you know.
Yep.
So when I entered that space, I was just like, I know I'm basically reclaiming this space back for us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I came in there with this intention. Before that, I was there as a guest and felt like weird that it is so white around me. But I also know that the majority of this country is white.
Yeah.
So I also rationalized the situation, right?
Mhm.
But I also knew that we as people of color, we also don't know about the background, you know.
Yeah.
And now, because the globe is changing so much and the consciousness is coming above, you know, you can't oppress the things anymore, you know, although there's a lot of smog also going on and stuff like this, but or noise or whatever, you can really tell. You can't fake things anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
Very true.
like this is how it's supposed to be. Also, when it comes to feminism, also when it comes to women rights. I mean, you see what's going on in Iran. Like the world is, I think, done with fakeness. You get me?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, I totally agree. It's definitely a light got shined on, you know, everybody scene, either, you know, from the music scene to movies to like whatever, or just across the board.
right,
And I think it was definitely a time that it needed to happen.
right,
It's given people opportunities they wouldn't have had before. Um,
right,
and it's also introducing the world to a culture, the beginnings of the culture, because a
right,
lot of people see things when they're cool already, but they don't know in how it got cool. You know, so as long as we shine a light on, you know, the true beginning, give people more diversity. And actually, somebody tweeted a tweet today. Hold on 1 second. Simon Dunmar, he owns or he used to own Defective and Glitterbox and stuff like that. He put a tweet today.
hmm
I just got tagged. I want to
check
say
it
it.
out.
I want to check it out. It's he said something about um there's not enough soul in the music that is coming out today. And I retweeted it and I commented and said maybe have a new A&R program that allows people with fresh ears and fresh eyes to listen to music, because a lot of music, especially his label, is humongous. He's probably getting hundreds of tracks a day. There's no way one A&R, two A&R, three A&R can decipher what's good music and what's not good music. So maybe if you have some more A&Rs that look like me and you, maybe the soul will come back into the scene. Huh?
You know what's funny? I just saw this interview by Didi at the Breakfast Club,
Okay.
and I just saw it yesterday. And he said, "Listen, we are so uh, exactly as you say what you said and what he was also tweeting. Like the soul is missing in the music, like the love, the joy, the good feeling, like the Marvin Gaye's track, you know,
Yeah.
that you sang to your girlfriend, you know, to approach her and things like that, you
Yeah.
know, to like the softness is missing. Like we hear lots of negative um vibration and stuff that is only like following an algorithm basically, you
Yeah.
know. And he also said a very important thing. He said like this digital companies like Spotify and all of these are people who not really musicians or have an idea of what good music is, right? And how music should feel. And this is a very important point that he was like tweeting about, because I feel the same. And this was also is one of my intentions, you know, when by having those gigs, I really want to fill the room with warmth, right? People should feel comfortable in their bodies, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, definitely. And I hope, or not I hope, because I hate the word hope. I trust in the future, because the future will be, let's say, changed by people like us who know about that and take this in consideration while they're doing their craft, you see? And these, imagine there are like stars in the sky, you know, and if there are, you know, maybe more stars coming up and lighting up the dark space, basically, you know, by understanding how important it is. Because music is like the unconscious language. I find music is the best reflection of how the music is, how the world is basically where the is at, right? Because it's like a Momentaufnahme, like recording of the moment. So it really shows you what's going on. It's like, you know,
for sure. And you definitely lit the room up that night we saw you in Berlin. That was sure. So how did you, I mentioned earlier, how did you get in contact or, you know, get involved with the that scene, the Toytonic scene?
Okay, so it's basically when it comes to Toytonic, there's a good friend of mine, familiar friend. His name is Danesh, and Danesh also booked me for the Melt Festival. Melt Festival is also one of the biggest electronic festivals here in Germany. And when he sent me the message, hey, listen, I would love to have you on this party. For me, it was more about him, you know, supporting his vision and his contribution in the culture and club scene. And I really, with some bookings, let's say, for me, it's more about what is the intention behind it, you know?
Yeah.
And with that, it was super cool that he asked me, you know, to play there. And of course, Teutonic is a huge platform. I know this as well. I also in touch with the people of Teutonics. And I felt like really good playing there, you know. I wish I could play downstairs, you know?
Yeah. But
Let's
I mean,
say like,
yeah, I feel
you know, because the sound system, I expected like the same sound system quality as downstairs.
Yeah.
And I was very disappointed to see 3 POCs playing upstairs in front of, you know, I mean, it was packed. People were like going nuts and stuff like this, but I'm very specific with those things, you know, I recognize, and I know, underestimation is still going on, you know, like, and people want to have the best spots and stuff like this. You always have to prove yourself, but at the same time, like, this is not really where I see myself next time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if people were upstairs, because I was going upstairs and downstairs.
Right.
And the vibe was way different from when you're playing when a person downstairs. Now, and not saying that they played bad. They didn't play bad. But the way I like to hear my music and the meaning behind the music, you had a better set in my eyes, for sure. Because
Appreciate that.
it was soulful. You got to play some house. You got to play some harder type house. And that one song, Love Dancing, I played that song like a couple days prior than that. And I that's one of my favorite songs. So when that came, I was like, yo, Love Dancing, hold up. So
yeah, man.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, man. I also enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. It's just a technical thing. You know, again, I'm a sound nerd.
Yeah.
You know, I like good sound around me. Of course, I also play in front of shitty sound systems, but I was just like expecting good sound upstairs as well. You know?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Speaking of sound, I noticed that you use in-ear monitors when you DJ.
Right.
I
Right.
also that was the first thing I noticed. I wear those too. What made you go start from there, or pick those up instead of over the ear?
Okay. Um, I saw like one of my she also participated in the competition that I was at in Amsterdam, yeah.
Okay.
And she had like this very good in
In-
ears, and I was like, what the fuck? Why is she using in ears, right?
Mhm.
And then because I also had like the overhead headphones, and then I tried to use in ears, and also they also look better. I'm so sorry to say
They
this,
do.
but
Yeah.
it is the truth,
Yep.
And then the overhead, most of the time they slip over,
Yeah.
and I'm a very slippery person, so even with the in ears, I'm like checking all the time,
Yeah.
sometimes because like um but they really work well with me, and I also think that the overheads that I had at home, one of the pairs is too heavy,
Hmm.
and then I have those Sony ones,
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
these they are not closed,
Oh, they're
so
open. Okay.
right, right,
Yeah.
right, and I need a close sound, that where I can feel the bass and everything, and yeah,
Yeah.
so for me now my in-ears work really well.
I love them. I won't go. I can't say I won't go back to other ones, but I'm really trying not to go back. I had it for like I'm going on probably 3 years right now, and they're a little more expensive, but just like the sound quality and actually my overall hearing has gotten better because I don't have to turn the booth monitor up so loud. Sorry, yeah, booth monitor and the volume on the mixer, the cue.
Right,
So I don't have to. It's not as loud, so my hearing has gotten better. So
right,
I suggest I tell people all the time, if you're a new DJ or just a DJ general, try 'em out. Like you have to focus on different sounds. You can't just focus on the bass or the kick because
right.
you have to focus on the hats and the class more blah blah nerd stuff. But it's all good.
Not really,
Nah,
not
you're right.
really.
You're right. You're right. You're right. So the podcast is almost coming to an end. So
Yeah,
let everybody know where they can find you, like on the social media platforms, SoundClouds, Facebooks, all that stuff.
sure.
Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram. Please type in Khadija
Mhm.
Sound.
Okay.
This is where you can find me. I also have like SoundCloud profile where you can find me. Homepage also, so the same name, Khadija Sound. And if you on my Instagram in my bio, I have like a link tree link. Then you can click on it. See also my DJ sets on the platform, for example. If there's interviews, whatever, and you can just send me a message, say hello, and I say hello too.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. What can you tell any upcoming shows you have coming or anything coming out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sure. 4th of November, I will play at Resort. 25th of November, I'm playing at Watergate,
Oh,
huge club also here
yeah.
in Berlin. Yeah, that's it from now on. Yeah, but I think there are also things in between, but I don't have to share these,
Yeah.
because it's not really special to say, But I'm blessed, what can I say? I cannot complain. But those two, yeah, I would love to
All the
see you
big
guys. Whomever is coming,
for
please
sure.
come.
For sure, for sure. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. It was like I said before, it's been a great interview, and everybody's going to be in love with it for sure.
Thank you for having me,
You're welcome.
Oliver. I really appreciate that.
For sure,
Seriously.
for sure, for sure. Now, this has been a new episode of All Things House Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.